So 1 day to go until the game of the round, or what we're hoping is the game of the round at the Rugby World Cup, as Ireland and Scotland meet at the Stade de France. I'm here in Lyon. I was at the New Zealand-Uruguay game last night, so I didn't have a chance to do a video on the Ireland and Scotland team selections. But that's what I'm going to be chatting about in this video. A few interesting selections from both sides, I think. So I'll get into all of that. Let me know what you make of the two teams in the comments. And now that you have seen the Matchday 23s, who do you think is going to win this game? Massive game. I hope it lives up to the billing. Who have you got? Let me know. Also, like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. But let's get into it. So I must admit, as we're inching closer to this game, as much as I want to believe that it's possible for Scotland to overturn this Ireland side and get themselves through, not because of any anti-Irish thinking, but just more because of the drama, the occasion it would create. I'm a neutral at the Stade de France tomorrow night. So just from that point of view, but I'm just not sure that it's going to happen. I think this Ireland team are probably too good, but we'll wait and see. You never know with Scotland, so we'll wait and see how we go. Let's start off with the Scots and their team selection, given that they are the side that the onus is on to go out and get the result most of all. And the team selection really, in terms of the headlines, has been about the players that aren't there. But actually, I think that tells a story in itself about this Scotland team and where they are at the moment. So no Hamish Watson, really good performance last week in Lille, but he hasn't been able to even force himself in to the Matchday 23, which, I don't know, is a really fascinating one. I thought that at least off the bench, he would have been a really good option as a ball carrier, explosive, aggressive in the tackle. From what you hear in camp, he's been chomping at the bit to have an opportunity in this World Cup. And in a big game like this, I'd imagine he's pretty gutted to miss out. And it was only a couple of years ago that he was a British and Irish Lion. Starting, I think he started for the Lions, didn't he? Or he's in line to start for the Lions. And a combination of injuries and a bit of form, maybe dipping in the middle there as well, means that he is not in the 23. So he's not there. No Kyle Steyn either, which again is another surprise. I would have thought he would have been a bench option. Such a good winger, underrated winger, I think, Kyle Steyn. He got such an all-round game, a good try-scoring record as well. But there's no place for him, no place for Ben White, and no place for Chris Harris. And Ben White, for however long, the last few months or the last year or so, certainly the last 6 months, has been the starter for Scotland. But it's Ali Price that comes in. They've gone for the experience at 9, and there's no room for Ben White and no room for Chris Harris, who not so long ago as well was a mainstay of the Scotland midfield. So what does this tell us? Well, to me, this is a reflection of the strength and depth of this Scottish side improving. And actually, if you go back and look at the replacements from the game against Ireland in the Six Nations, I think if you compare them now to then, it's a sign of how the strength and depth has improved for the Scots. The starting teams actually for both sides aren't massively different. There's a couple of changes in there, but I do think Scotland's strength and depth has improved, and that is a reflection on some of those big names that miss out. Now, you might still watch this and say, well, Hamish Watson should definitely be involved. Ben White should still be the 9, and it should be Ali Price coming off the bench. Kyle Steyn should be on the bench as well. And I think they're completely valid thoughts. So at this moment in time, do you trust in Gregor Townsend? Do you trust in the bold calls that he has made? From the limited kind of reaction I've seen amongst Scotland fans, it's a bit of a mixed bag there. It's a bit of a mixed thoughts on whether he's being a little bit too clever or whether this is going to pay off. We'll wait and see. I suppose my biggest question really when I looked at it is this a side that can compete up front with Ireland? And going back to what I was saying about perhaps feeling that I'm just not sure Scotland are able to do this, that's probably where it stems from. I know the Scotland backline is incredibly good and incredibly dangerous, but it depends on if they can get front foot ball. And that is probably the question about this Scotland pack going up against the Irish pack. And what we've seen with Ireland, and let's get on to them, they are able to go toe-to-toe with the most physical sides in the world. That was the thing that was most impressive about their victory against South Africa, in that it wasn't an Irish team that were getting on the front foot and their attack was so cohesive they cut South Africa apart. They won the arm wrestle. They won the physical battle up front, and this is something they are doing regularly now against the top teams in the world. Therefore, I think it's pretty likely that they will also do it against Scotland as well, who are one of the top teams in the world, but you know what I mean, they're not a South Africa or France or possibly even a New Zealand. So let's get on to Ireland. Peter O'Mahony, 100 caps up for him. When you look at the list of names that he is joining as centurions for Ireland, first of all, it's a lot of players that have played recently or in the last 10 years or so, which in itself I find quite interesting. I don't know if there's anything in that. Perhaps there's just more international rugby. That's all that is. But that I've thought was interesting. And look, he's a terrific player. He's such a key part of that team, and it's fantastic to see him bring up his 100th in this sort of game, a game of this magnitude. But what were my thoughts on it? Well, they continue to go strong, Ireland. Throughout this World Cup, they are picking strong sides, and I love that. I think that is, first of all, a reflection of their fixtures, because their fixture list with their first couple of games of the tournament was not easy, but was easier. They were allowed to build into the tournament. They've been allowed to get game time into some of those frontline players. And I think it's a team that are looking to ride this momentum through to the final. A team who are the number one side in the world, the Grand Slam champions, who have genuine realistic prospects of winning this World Cup. And it's the fascinating thing with Ireland, because I think the natural inclination of the Irish fan base is to kind of resist against that. Just not wanting to get too far ahead of themselves, which makes sense. I mean, look at the quarter-final. You're going to get through this group, hopefully, most likely, and then you're going to have an incredibly difficult quarter-final. So I understand those reservations, but I just like how they operate. I like how Andy Farrell operates. I love the mindset of this group, and that's why I think they'll probably have too much for Scotland. You also look at the depth as well. I've just been talking about the depth from a Scotland point of view. You look at the Irish depth, it's almost at another level, particularly, I think, when you see someone like James Ryan not starting in this game. So you've got Tadhg Beirne, Iain Henderson in there in the second row. Dan Sheehan comes back in to start at hooker, which they will hope will arrest some of the issues they saw against South Africa at the line-out. Well, at the start of the game, I suppose the line-out actually did shore up as the match went on, but certainly at the start, they're going to want that set piece to be rock solid. And then I think about this game, and in the video I did the other day, I said Scotland need to play quick and fast. It needs to be chaos. That's how they can get at this Ireland side. And I do still stand by that, in that I think that is the way that Scotland need to approach the game. That gives Scotland the best opportunity to potentially win it. But actually a quick and fast game also suits Ireland, which again, going back to where this team are and the job Andy Farrell and Mike Catt, Paul O'Connell, all those coaches have done in developing this side. We saw them win the arm wrestle against a team like South Africa, but we've also seen them play some of their best rugby when it's fast, when they're on the front foot, when their attack is able to click into gear. So even if Scotland play that way, I don't think that would necessarily faze Ireland either, which is a brilliant sign in a World Cup. I think they are capable of playing any sort of game plan and any sort of style of match. And that is why I think they will beat Scotland. But I hope it's close. I hope there is danger in the result. I hope we get to the final 20 minutes and all eventualities are still on the line. That's what I'm hoping for, but I'm not sure. I think Ireland most likely will have a little bit too much, and they will march into the quarterfinals most likely to play New Zealand. Lucky them. Yeah, that side of the draw is absolutely bonkers. Let me know what you make of it in the comments. As I say, we've seen the teams now. What do you make of them? Who do you see winning this game after the Matchday 23s have been released? Hopefully it is going to be a fascinating occasion. So comment down below, like the video, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.